Georgia can become the first team since Nick Saban's Alabama to accomplish this feat, and yet it still might not matter in the way that it probably should. Kirby Smart knows this and acknowledged a part of his program that I didn't think he was ever going to talk about because, well, Georgia's been good. Oh, it's coming up after the bumper. What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year-round. If you're into that, join the more than 215,000 subscribers to Adapt and Respond, a college football podcast. And you can also listen or watch the podcast on Spotify and Apple. We do that 4 times a week. And today, I wanted to do a segment about Georgia football because Georgia is in a unique position going into 2026. For the last 2 years, it has been the king of the SEC, winning back-to-back SEC championships. You'll know that Georgia also went back-to-back with national championships in 2021 and 2022. And in 21, that was the first time that Georgia had won the national championship in more than 40 years. All of these things coincided with Kirby Smart coming on to be head coach in 2016. They played in the Liberty Bowl that year, and in short order were in the college football playoff, renting a room, buying real estate. It was less about whether or not they were going to make the playoff and more about whether or not they were going to win the national championship. And that 22 year is remarkable, in large part because of how they ended it. They left no doubt against Texas Christian, 65-7, the worst bowl loss by a team, FBS, in history, period. And that happened in a national championship game. That Texas Christian even made that game is an accomplishment. The more you think about it, Sonny Dykes' team was coming off of 5-7. It was his first year. They didn't expect to be very good. And yet they managed to not only get selected to the college football playoff without winning the Big 12 championship, but to beat Michigan in what was a very entertaining Fiesta Bowl. But since then, Georgia fans have watched Indiana University, University of Michigan, and Ohio State University win the last 3 national championships. And what is more disturbing and upsetting is that no SEC team has featured in the national championship game in the last 3 years. Some of that is because they've been boxing each other out, and some of that is just because the Big Ten has been really good. You heard Eli Drinkwitz's theory. It is that all 3 of those Big Ten national champions managed to avoid playing a Power 4 out-of-conference game. Ohio State didn't do it in 24, Indiana didn't do it in 25, and Michigan certainly didn't do it in 23. While I feel like that's reductive, it's also a trend, and it's one that we probably should respect, especially as now the SEC has to play 9 conference games, something they haven't done before, and they had resisted. The thought was the SEC would go to 9 conference games when we extended the playoff to 24 teams. We still haven't done that. But there has been a thirst from SEC fans to see all of the SEC teams at their home stadiums. And this allows for every college football fan in the SEC to see all 15 teams come to their stadium over a 3-year period. And I think that's very cool, but it also means that you are going to get rid of Cupcake Week in November, where SEC teams traditionally schedule an FCS opponent. Going into 26, that's not really a worry for Georgia because Georgia doesn't really play anybody until September 19th, and that's when Oklahoma comes to town. And depending on how you feel about Oklahoma, that might not be the best team that they face all year, right? They still got some Bama left, but there's not really anybody on this schedule to test them. Like, you start with Tennessee State, you win that game. Western Kentucky, you win that game. Arkansas, you win that game. I mentioned Oklahoma. Vanderbilt's going to start a true freshman, talented, but true freshman in Jared Curtis. Alabama might be difficult, right? That's at Alabama. I expect Keelan Russell will win that job, but it could be difficult. Auburn, first-year coach, even if Byron Brown is a real talent. 3,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher. Florida, first-year coach. Ole Miss, benefit of the doubt, not a first-year coach, given what he was able to do in the college football playoff, specifically beating Georgia, right? Which is wild. Missouri, that ought to be a tough game. South Carolina could be a tough game. Georgia Tech, we'll see, right? That rivalry game's kind of peaked here in the last couple of years. Outside of Alabama and Ole Miss, we're really looking at Georgia probably going win 10 games at a minimum. They return Nate Frazier at tailback. They return Gunnar Stockton. Oscar Delp, was a dude. They'll find a way to throw the ball. They don't really throw the ball. They play defense. And Kirby Smart would say the strength of his football team is its physicality and its team-first attitude, right? However, where they have fallen short, and where I would say Gunnar Stockton, as quarterback, has fallen short, is they can't seem to win a college football playoff game the last couple of years. So now the SEC champ has been beaten by a team that didn't play in the SEC championship game, Ole Miss, or a team that played in the national championship game, Notre Dame. But even Kirby Smart said something I didn't expect him to say ever, which is we need to play bigger in the biggest moments, whether it's the SEC championship game or college football playoff game. He's acknowledging that they have not met the bar for excellence that they were able to meet routinely 2017 to 2022. Also means that this feat that they could accomplish this year, winning a third consecutive SEC championship and being the first team since Nick Saban's 2014, 2015, 2016 Alabama to accomplish that feat, might not actually mean that much. Now, Georgia did this in 1980, 1981, 1982, but again, it might not mean that much because there's not a national championship in there. And one of the really cool facts of playing for Nick Saban during his time at Alabama is that if you stayed 4 years with Nick Saban, you won a national championship ring. Full stop. Georgia might not get to say that if they make it through this year without, getting close to that thing. Because 2017, you're a freshman. Let's see, 18, 19, 20, 21. Fifth year, took the red shirt. You won a national championship. You get to restart that clock 22, okay? So 23, 24, 25. We're in the 26, right? I'm curious if fans at Georgia are going to feel a little bit disappointed, like not disappointed enough to fire Kirby Smart. We're so far away from something like that. But I do believe that they expected to become what Alabama had been with Nick Saban exiting. And now that you've seen the juices north of the Mason-Dixon line, you might begin to worry about, wait. We was next in line. We've got basically the best college football coach in America, and we recruit really well, and we retain our talent, and we win the SEC championship. And at one point, that is the best league in football. As a matter of fact, I would say from 2006 to 2022, it's the best league in football, right? The SEC champ had a great shot to win the national championship. Now, the SEC champ can't win a college football playoff game. Kirby also pointed to, taking 30 days off between games. Not ideal. None of us like this. None of us like the postseason schedule. It sucks. You're also trying to avoid the NFL, which is gobbling up more days and also doesn't much care that college football is still trying to figure out how to do the postseason. I think this year we get to find out for sure whether or not Georgia is going to be a perennial contender for the national championship. Because if they make it again and they get beat, they risk comparing themselves to the 4-syllable word in the SEC, Oklahoma. You make the college football playoff, but you can't win it. Yikes.